think about it. The Christian life generally, again, like I said before, people don't generally go out just looking for Jesus. They're looking for the answers to questions. And the Christian life usually begins not with everything's fine, but there are problems. I don't have peace. I don't know where I'm going when I'm going to die. I don't know what the purpose is of my life. It begins with cuts into the life of a human being. And a search and a need for healing. I need some kind of healing, like you would go to a doctor. You've got to cover this and you've got to bandage this thing. I'm bleeding. I've got a problem. Same thing with the beginning of the pearl. It begins with a problem. And the irritant causes the oyster to seek healing just as we then seek healing from Christ for the troubles in our lives. And as soon as we come to him, he covers us with himself. The nacre is the new nature that is then placed over the irritant, over the cut, over the wound. And a new nature, not its own, and a new nature for us, not our own, is poured onto us, and transformation begins. Why should a beautiful thing come from a cut? And yet it does. Over and over and over again. The more irritants, the more length of time, the more beautiful and valuable the pearl. And I know you probably don't want to hear this very often, but the more trials in your life as a believer, the more beautiful the shape and the pearl of your life to the Lord. As it says in the book of James, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. How? Well, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, or in another translation, endurance or perseverance. To translate it into this parable, knowing that the testing of your faith produces a beautiful pearl, and one of higher and higher value, not to maybe yourself, but to him. Again, this is his perspective. But see, no one knows what's really growing inside you and me until our life is cracked open, until the oyster is broken. And then is revealed what is really inside of us. Off the north coast of Australia is this amazing oyster called the South Sea Pearl oyster. It's huge. It grows to about a foot in size. Lives for about 40 years. Makes pearls that are of like that kind of size, which for a pearl is enormous. One recently sold for, guess how much? $1.5 million. A pearl of great price. And this merchant, right? He knows all the pearls of the world. He knows all the things of value and worth. The Lord made all things. He knows what everything is worth. He knows the exact values. And he considers this one pearl to be more valuable than the rest. Us. I don't know about you, but I don't generally look at my Christian life, and I don't think you really should all that often. You're like, well, look at me, you know. But to consider God's own perspective and what he says of us as the church is a good thing for us to remember. And I think the reason why he values it this way is because he knows, like with the pearl, he knows how much went into it in order to make it. He knows all the things that you had to sloth through. He knows the things that you had to overturn in your heart. He knows the things you've had to refuse. He knows the things you've had to accept. He knows the bridges you have to walk over that you didn't want to. He knows the forgiveness you had to offer that you didn't ever want to do. He knows the things that are not done fairly to you over and over and over and over again. He sees it all. He knows all the cuts. He knows all the nacre that he's had to pour. And if you think about it from that perspective, of course he values that. He values, here today, he values what you have to go through every day. He knows every little thing that you have to wade through. The tears, the frustration, the agony, the suffering, sometimes even life, it seems kind of endless in its propitiation of these things. He knows, and this is why he values it so much, because it's rare. It's beautiful. 1 in 10,000 wild oysters having this value. What is the one in whatever for the Christian life that has the really formed pearl in it? What kind of pearl is growing in you? Are you allowing him to secrete the nacre, to put with his Holy Spirit a new layer on you when you go into the next trial? I mean, because here's where the difference is between the pearl and us. The pearl has no choice once it begins. We, unfortunately, can take a trial and say, nah, I'm going to handle this on my own. And the layer won't form, and the growth won't happen. But he knows all the things that go into making the pearl of great price in your life and in mine. And what does God the merchant do? What does he do when he sees this pearl of great price? Well, when he had found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. This is different than the treasure. The treasure the man buys the field. Here, the merchant buys the pearl. He buys you and me. And what did he pay for us? He sent his son, Jesus the Christ, to suffer unimaginable pain and consequence, to pay a debt that we cannot pay on our own.